Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners, macabre murders, and captivating crimes from across the centuries, and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 227.
Well, hurrah.
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 Into the 200s.
As we have been for some time.
As we have been for some time. How are you, Nick?
I'm very well.
Are you good?
I'm good, I'm drunk. It's
You're
marvellous. Yes. It's an excellent start to the recording.
It is.
We're already 2 Negronis in.
We should point out to people, I don't walk through the door, Nick nails 2 Negronis and go, come on, let's do this. Sometimes you do.
I mean, that generally is how it works.
Sometimes you do. No, I turn up for recording, and then we have a bit of a chat that we do release on our cyanide connoisseurs level of Patreon.
It's a bit of a warm-up.
It's a warm-up. Well, we need the warm-up, and we need to chat about our days and funny things that have happened and musings and chattery.
Get the amusement out.
If you're here for the banter rather than for the history or the cocktails...
Oh, there's loads of that.
Well done. There's that. There's more of that. It gets unhinged.
Usually.
And usually filthy. But you're well.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Yourself? Are you well?
I am very well.
Excellent.
I have new hair.
You do.
I do have new hair.
You've hidden it well.
I've scraped it back as always. Yes. There's less of it.
Looks much the same as your normal hair until it's unleashed.
Yeah, unleashed. And then I let it down and go, look, Mr. Rigsby, I'm a woman. That is a niche 70s reference I just threw in there. Could have picked any modern woman at all, but no, Frances de la Tour. She is my idol. Any poisonings this week?
Oh, probably.
Probably.
I've been very busy this week.
You are. It is approaching of the season.
It's a busy time of year.
And
so I don't have time to be looking out for those poisonings and things. I've got to be concentrating.
Mm-hmm. So does that mean that you're wantonly poisoning people, or you don't have time to poison people?
I don't have time to poison, and if other people are doing it, then have at it, because I don't have time to stop you.
Oh, I didn't realise that you'd started a detective agency against poisoning. I mean, we do this
No,
retrospectively.
but I like to keep a keen eye out to see what's going on in the world. See if I can spot anything with my expert historical knowledge.
Yes, 2 Negronis in, you're like,
I can see a poisoning from about 20 miles away.
20 fucking miles.
Yes, with my
normally it's 20 paces, but
my
fine.
Negroni telescope. It's great.
Here's your Negroni telescope, just a bottle of Campari, pressed up against the eye.
Yeah, and I can see many, many things through it.
I don't doubt that you can.
Many things.
Okay, well,
some things that are true, some things that aren't true, some things that may be true in the future.
It's turned into some sort of fable now.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of magical fables and being able to see things at a great distance after you've had a few, I think it is time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Absolutely, they can all see the future. This week we must say thank you very much to Knox Carlson,
to Jess Majors,
to Kitty Crafter,
to Rita Perez,
to the Radio Chemist,
and to Amy Lloyd. Thank you, you delicious, sexy
Marvelous.
Patreon subscribers. We had fun on Patreon this week. We had an unsolved mystery. We had murder at the train station.
That was it. I did that one.
There was great gardening and great death.
There was so much gardening.
There was. It was a delightful, horrifying little story.
But did you like the image?
The
accompanied the episode.
The episode image. I should have put it in the episode notes. Actually, I just used it to illustrate.
Brilliant.
It was the most ridiculous picture of it.
Just a hand emerging from a hedge with a gun
and a man being shot outside a lovely house. It was. I'm sure that's what happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's more sort of Looney Tunes.
Deadly hedges.
Yeah. The hedge did it the whole time. Oh my god, the hedge did it.
The hedge did it.
You pruned me for the last time. If you want to know what the hell we're talking about, please do consider joining us on patreon.com/The Poisonous Cabinet. This is our subscription service where you can support the show, but you also get bags of extra content every single week. We do a new episode, The Deadly Nightcaps. We also have videos on there. We have bloopers. We have book club chat. We also have a higher tier where you get our behind the scenes content. You get an extra monthly episode of weird and wonderful news and a little gift pack to say thank you. It's a lovely, lovely place full of things.
So much going on.
So much going on. We also have another promo this week, Nick.
Another one?
Yes, I did a joint episode with the creators behind the Last Knock horror podcast recently, which you can check out on YouTube. The link will be in the show notes. The team are also the creative forces behind a new TV show concept, The Worm and the Butterfly. If you are a fan of Edgar Allan Poe and all things spooky, then you need to check this out.
What if you woke up tomorrow and couldn't remember who you were? What if the only thing you had on you was a book of Edgar Allan Poe stories? That's what the family in our story faces when they stumble on a man's body, with one horrifying exception. Their amnesiac also just came back from the dead, and the search for his identity might just destroy them. In the new television horror, The Worm and the Butterfly, a sideshow family finds themselves out-freaked by a presence that could destroy them. The Worm and the Butterfly follows Freak Magnet as a new horror threatens to tear them apart each season. And it all begins with a battered paperback of Edgar Allan Poe stories, because every season is inspired by one or two tales from the Terror Master himself. The Worm and the Butterfly.
There you go, a hint of The Worm and the Butterfly. Now, this is a concept for the TV show. The people behind it really need support and interest from people, so go and check it out on Freak Magnet's YouTube channel. Again, the link will be in the show notes. Like, comment if you want to see this being made. If it's something that would interest you, show them your support. Well, Nick, are you ready?
Hurrah!
To drink cocktails and talk about poison?
I finished that, Negroni.
So,
I need a new drink.
or would you like to drink poison and talk about cocktails?
Does it get me a new drink?
It gets you a drink,
Okay.
the outcome of which will be decided.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll go with one of those.
Okay.
Hooray, hooray, hooray. It is my story this week, and we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavor our cocktail of the week. Nick, the secret ingredient this week is cocaine.
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 Cocaine, the white powder, devil's marching dust, the ice. What street words for that? I don't know any more slang terms for it.
And also, I'm slightly aggrieved that you think I would include such a thing in a cocktail.
We're quite old,
Exactly.
and we need all the help we can get.
But it could kill us.
It could. Now, obviously,
we are quite old.
now, as the social media image should have indicated to people, we are by no means advocating
No.
the use of cocaine.
No.
We do not use it. We do not have any here. We don't, really.
Do you not?
No,
Oh,
no, we don't.
Damn you.
No, we don't. I don't know why I'm being so particular about this ingredient, given that we've talked nothing but poison for years now.
Now you draw the limit.
Now I do, well, because obviously, like, sharing this information on social media, I have to be very careful about writing cocaine all over there. But cocaine was an old-timey ingredient,
It was an old-timey ingredient. This
which
is very true.
all will be explained in the episode.
Okay.
Well, with cocaine.
With cocaine.
With cocaine
Yes.
as the ingredient.
Yes.
What have you come up with?
I have not got any cocaine,
Okay.
I'm afraid.
Oh,
no,
damn.
We are not revisiting our youth.
I think that would be terrifying if
Yeah,
we
indeed.
did that.
It would not be good. It would not be good. So, but what we are going to have
Okay.
is perhaps a symptom of the cocaine.
Okay.
We're going to have a chatterbox.
A chatterbox. Oh, that's good. Okay. I was like, symptoms. What's that? Paranoia?
Paranoia.
Paranoid
Also,
impotence.
a loquaciousness.
A loquaciousness. Yes, you can keep going,
Yeah,
can't you?
You can absolutely.
Oh, a chatterbox.
A chatterbox.
I like it. Wonderful. I think it is high time for us to slink surreptitiously into the Poisonous Cabinet kitchen and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
So, Nick, the chatterbox.
Chatterbox.
What is this? Is this a creamy drink?
We'll find out.
Does it look creamy? I can't tell. It sort of looks... It doesn't look too thick, but it looks kind of pale and interesting.
Pale and interesting.
Pale and interesting. A little smell. Oh, wow. Okay, what the fuck's going on there? What was that? What was that assault on the senses?
That was the smell.
Oh, no. Okay. All right, well, let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Is this just a big thing of powdered cocaine? Liquid cocaine.
Liquid cocaine.
Okay, powdered
Yeah.
cocaine. No, Sinead, no. Okay, well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Okay, it's creepy. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What the what?
I don't know if I don't mind that.
How can I can see through time? Oh, it stings the eyes, Nick.
It is.
What the fuck is going on?
It'll make you chatty.
Yeah. That was a punch in the face. Okay, right. I have to go for a second sip of this to try and work out what's happening. Hoi.
There.
Yes, no, what?
It's dangerous.
Okay, is there something creamy in? Is there like Bailey's in there?
Nope.
Cream?
Nope.
Some other cream liqueur.
There's not a liqueur.
Milk?
There is an oat milk.
Oh, it's oat milk.
Oat milk.
Okay, so oat milk. Fucking whiskey?
No.
No?
Nope.
So no whiskey. There's something really strong in there, though.
I think this is potentially a bad idea for a cocktail.
Given that you've just mainlined two Negronis. Okay, sorry, oat milk. There's so much going on. I'm really struggling to try and guess what's in it. So not whiskey or bourbon? Or,
No.
Calvados?
No.
Brandy?
No.
Rum?
Yes.
Spiced rum?
No.
Dark rum?
No.
White rum?
No. Yes. I was just a habit of saying no.
White rum, right.
Yeah.
White rum and oat milk. Is there something fucking twiggy in there? Or herbally?
Moderately, but not.
What's the offensive thing that's happening? If it's something I like, then this has ruined it. I can't... It's not... It's just so weird. This is the weirdest thing that we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Because it's not immediately bad.
Okay, I'm gonna lay it out.
Okay.
The recipe for this calls for an ingredient that I could not get a hold of in time.
Right, so did you just put fucking everything else in it?
So only one ingredient. Okay. So I substituted for something else.
I don't think I can guess anymore. I don't think I know.
So there is some Di Serrano in there.
Ow!
And some falernum.
Falernum. Oh yeah, so the
Falernum.
sugary, the rubby,
Yep.
spicy,
Spicy,
yummy.
so, which is where the sort of the vaguely sort of spicy bits and pieces are coming from.
Yeah.
Now, the original recipe calls for a pure grain spirit
What the fuck did you do, Nick?
on this, apparently there's a monkey shoulder do a
Like really pure
just grain spirit
Yeah, okay.
on that, which I couldn't get hold of on time
Right.
because it was going to take about 3 or 4 days to arrive or so.
Yeah.
So I've used rum,
Okay.
but quite a high proof.
You did not use you didn't use the green, like the Ray and...
I may have done.
What the hell did you do, Nick? You put Ray and Nephew in this.
Yeah.
Ray and Nephew. In Jamaica, they use that to clean houses.
Yeah, I know.
Why did you do this?
Because it was the most alcoholic thing I could find.
Yes, I agree. It's the most alcoholic thing I think I've ever drunk. Why would you do this, Nick?
Because I thought it'd be quite funny.
It is funny. It is funny. Oh, everything else in that drink would work. Ray and Nephew, for people who don't know, it is an overproof rum, a white rum. It is so strong. It is, people don't drink it. I'm saying this as in not that people do drink it. People do order it at bars.
But don't.
Don't.
I bought the smallest bottle I possibly could.
Yeah.
Of this stuff.
Because they make it at Appleton, isn't it? Appleton Rum Factory, which is incredible.
Yeah, so it's made in
brand.
Jamaica. It's very traditional.
But clean houses with it.
Yeah.
Use it as an antiseptic. If you are hungover, inhale it, like rub it on your hands and like rub it on your face, and then they use that as a hangover cure. They wouldn't drink it. But in England, apparently. Oh, I can't believe you've done this.
It was the...
But that's the hit. It's just burning alcohol.
It's just alcohol.
Everything else that was beautiful in this is dead. It's been killed.
It's going to make you chassis.
I can't drink that.
No,
Nick.
no,
I can't drink that. I can't
either.
drink. I don't think it's wise. As a taste overall, after the initial assault on the senses, it's not that great. It's only okay. But everything else that you suggested would be nice. Have one more drink of this for luck. Wait, that's. Oh my god! To get me through this story. Are you going to continue with it?
Probably not.
You're going to sip little bits of it.
Yeah. I think that could end badly.
Do you need a coffee?
I've got to work tomorrow.
You have got to work tomorrow and you're going to listen to this.
So it's like,
okay. With the chatterbox.
with the chatterbox.
At arm's length
far, far away.
Much like a chatterbox itself. It's like, it seemed like a good idea at the time, and now, no.
It's a dangerous, dangerous thing.
Are you ready for a story, Nick?
Yes.
Are you braced?
Bring it on.
Can you see?
Just.
I can just about see after 2 sips. Well, Nick, I have a delightful story for you this week. One of those ones that when you delve into it, you go, my goodness, how have I not heard of this before? It
Okay.
features a celebrity.
Nice.
A celebrity of sorts. And a crazy tale. There's lessons to be learned here, and there's other lessons that are not to be learned.
I feel I should be taking notes.
Yes, indeed. We're going to tell the story today of Dr. Oliver Cook Haugh or Hoff. I have not decided how this name could be pronounced.
It can be pronounced in many ways.
Yes, Haugh. They are an American person. Yeah. I'm calling them Oliver the way through this.
Oliver works. Let's go with Oliver.
All this, but yeah, I'd be intrigued to see what people think, whether it's Hoff or Hough. And there's not a lot of audio resources about this chap, so normally I do go and try and check, but this one was like, it could be this, it could be that. But anyway, a man who may have killed many, may also, and he may also have changed the skies as we know them.
I find that unlikely. Okay. Did he invent clouds?
No.
Okay.
That was another man, many years later. Okay, so Oliver was born on the 12th of April, 1871. He is the second of 2 sons, and he was born in Dayton, Ohio. Now, his parents were Samuel and Mary Frances, and they were deeply religious people. Good Christian folk, not very wealthy, but religious. They met each other through the church, and they decided, yay, okay, let's get married. They were married in 1866. And Samuel, the father, who's also called Jacob, which is nice and confusing, because I think his middle name was Jacob.
Right.
Samuel Jacob, that's where you kind of get the two. They were very, very active in the community of helping those in need. And apparently Samuel would go out and gather the poor children wherever they were found and would take them back to his house.
Okay.
And with the assistance of his good wife, he would wash them, and they would give them clean clothing and feed them and send them away happy, according to one report. It is a weird image, really, in today's context.
Oh, but I think we're always looking through a context of, oh my God, what a bastard.
It could have been a lovely act of kindness.
Yes, a generous man and his wife looking after some poor, neglected orphan children.
Absolutely. Welcoming them in. This is a home. You can come in here. We will feed and clothe you if you need it.
But we are always quite cynical.
We're always cynical. He could have been evil, or well, it doesn't seem like he was, actually.
No. But he's a nice man doing good things.
He could have also just been taking children off the street who weren't homeless.
Yes.
Like, you look a bit shabby.
You need a wash.
Come on, big ears, come on. Their parents are screaming, where's my child? Don't worry, we've changed him out of those awful clothes you put him in.
He was just dirty.
Ew. They went away happy as well, was the last line in one resource. Like, they went away happy after these poor homeless children were booted out the door. Right, you're done now, goodbye. I'm so happy I've had that one day. Back to their parents.
Yes, one day of how life could possibly be if you were loved.
So there they are. They have this sort of turntable system. Now, the mother, Mary Frances, described as simple-minded, not the brightest bulb in the shop, and was known for not being the tidiest of housekeepers.
We can all relate.
Yes, devoted to the church, and obviously made sure all the boys in the neighbourhood where she lived went to their Sunday school. So I bet she was popular with all of them after they'd been scrubbed down and given new clothes. Go to Sunday school. Like, we don't like this woman. She keeps coming into our houses. Her mother was said to have been similarly of a strange mind, because she apparently once saw Jesus on a church steeple.
On the steeple?
On the steeple.
Okay.
She was prone to visions, and she saw Jesus atop a church steeple.
Wow.
Yeah. Everyone else going, that's a weather vane. Or a cockerel.
Or that's Bob fixing the roof.
But Jesus was on top of a church steeple, and she saw him. She saw him. So people go, yeah, it was much talked about in Dayton.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. So Jacob comes along, his older brother, and then Oliver. Oliver is born. Jacob is also mixed up. His name is also sometimes Jesse, and then Jacob also is given the father's name as well. But there are definitely 2 sons.
Very confusing.
And I'm going to call older son Jacob. Oliver is our main character. There we go.
Okay.
There was again, a report where sometimes where these stories get a little bit convoluted as well, that Oliver was apparently named after the city's first native-born physician, Dr. Oliver Cook. So his name, Oliver Cook Haugh or Haugh, comes from this physician who also was known for his cure-all tincture, wine of tar.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it was a cough syrup used to treat consumption.
Fun.
Had a big picture of a child on the front. Worrying.
Yes, eat children. Cure
Eat
consumption.
children. Now, the boys, Oliver and Jacob, were raised in the Christian household, and they were expected to be as pious as their parents, which meant the boys would often go without. Because the parents are obviously feeding and clothing all the other children. Fuck their own. No. Yeah, ignore them. You must give to those more needy. So they're giving away their clothes and their food to little orphans that are brought in on the street as well. So immediately there's a feeling of, okay, when do I get some love?
Me?
Yes. Now, Jacob, the older brother, he's very committed to the church as well. And again, it's said that he is similarly not the brightest bulb. He may have sustained a head injury when he was a child, which lead people to think that was the reason he was a bit slower than his brother.
Okay.
Whatever it was, actually was never going to have a decent diagnosis. But he is very pious and completely committed to the life in the church. Oliver would later recount a time when both of them were riding the trolley through Dayton, and another teenage boy that they knew of and not connected with them, was on the trolley and messing about with his friends, and took out a fountain pen at the time and was pretending to use it as like mock injecting morphine. Jacob saw this, didn't understand what was happening, and fell to his knees and started praying loudly to save the boy's soul and to save all these young people's souls of drugs. And of course everyone on the trolley is laughing at him.
Yeah, that's not going to make you too many friends.
No,
it's
and
not gonna,
Jacob is oblivious, but Oliver is like receding into his coat and just feeling like, oh God, and now we're going to be the target of ridicule and bullies. So the boys are marked by bullies and taunts. Many people draw on this, and they draw on the fact that how tough Oliver's life must have been when he was younger, to try and explain his actions later on. Oliver himself was said to have ended up becoming a bully to act out. You know, if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah.
At 15, though, Oliver is seeking work to try and get his own money. He starts working at the local druggist,
Okay.
a pharmacy, Francisco's. This may have been run, or at least it was supplied by one John Hinsey. He's sort of aligned with this story. I don't know. I don't think he was actually the owner of the pharmacy, but I think he was a supplier. But it's sort of showing the kind of way that pharmacies worked at the time, where it's not run by upstanding, long-careered medical people with many, many, many degrees. No. It's just run by people who feel like opening a pharmacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a former carpenter who... But there's money in drugs. Let's get some of that. He added the letters MD after his name, and no one challenged it.
Yeah, I mean, who would?
Yeah, nobody cares. Not legitimate at all. You don't need a medical degree to sell the latest quack medicines of the time. Morphine drops, opium tinctures, lots of drugs.
Lots of drugs.
Now, Oliver is working away at this shop. He's not getting the best of care at home. He's developed also terrible trouble with his teeth.
Ooh.
He's got really bad toothache. He's got tooth decay. This is really troubling him. He's no real means of going to a proper dentist. And even then, the dentist is kind of hit and miss, literally. As in kind of, well, I have a rusty saw.
I can take them all out and give you nice wooden choppers.
Exactly. So he just starts dipping into supplies at the pharmacy. In particular, the cocaine toothache drops. The drops of cocaine for the tooth. Produced by Lloyd Manufacturing Company, apparently. Cocaine toothache drops. Instantaneous cure. Price 15 cents.
Bargain.
Absolutely wonderful. For sale by all druggists. So he starts dipping into those and self-medicating. Now, these cocaine drops would not only contain cocaine, surprisingly enough, some morphine would be in there, maybe little bits of opium as well, or like opioids or different kinds of opioids, and then just some herbally shit.
Yes.
To make it all fine. But yeah, so that's a heavy drug addiction you're starting on. Yeah, chuck those in, because toothache, horrible. So he's self-dosing to alleviate the pain, and now hepped up on various drugs. And this may explain why he was jumpy one winter's day in 1886. So he's around the age of 15. He's playing a game of ice hockey in the town against another team. Not sure if it's a local school or local match. But ice hockey, pretty brutal game.
Yes,
you know,
can be violent.
can be. Oliver, though, takes it to a new level. There's one boy that he ends up smashing his hockey stick in the face of.
Okay.
Yeah, one boy skating around, hockey stick straight in the face. This boy knocks out most of his front teeth and will give him headaches and an injury that will last for some time. It's not life-threatening, but it's pretty hard on Wilbur Wright. Ringing a bell?
That's the plain person?
One of the Wright brothers.
Oh.
Wilbur and Orville. Right.
Oh.
Wilbur Wright was skating around playing hockey and met the end of Oliver's hockey stick.
Nice.
He did. Wilbur was about 18 or 19 at the time, and this is a huge turning point in his life. He is the bright, shining star. He is an athlete. He is intelligent. He is privileged. He comes from a very good family. He is all set to finish his studies and go to Yale. He's going to go off and be a success wherever he goes. So maybe the hit in the face was an accident, or maybe Oliver was really fecked off at pretty boys skating around with his perfect teeth and decides he's going to mete out a little
teach him a lesson?
Justice in his mind. No one is sure whether it is a genuine accident. You know, playing hockey, these things happen.
Yes, indeed.
It's a full-on, though, smack in the face. So a lot of people have drawn conclusions. This injury for Wilbur would send him into a spiral because he was supposed to go to Yale. He was really athletic. He had terrible headaches, terrible pain, obviously, from losing his front teeth, had to get them replaced. And he became very withdrawn. He didn't go to Yale. He stayed at home. He stayed in his family home. His mother had tuberculosis. She was dying, so he cared for her, and he read, and he read, and he read. And his brother, Orville, was off trying to start new ventures. And the fact that he didn't go out and he became quite reclusive ended up with him working more closely with Orville, and the two of them would get together and have their greatest achievement, which was starting a bicycle repair shop. And then later aeroplanes.
And then some aeroplanes.
Then aeroplanes
and
later.
Then aeroplanes came along.
They made planes happen, famously. The Wright brothers made planes happen. And many people have pointed out that if this accident hadn't happened...
It was the turning point. Yeah.
Where would have Wilbur gone? Would he have gone to Yale? Would he have done other things? The two of them together, Orville and Wilbur, it was their joint force that actually made aviation possible. And obviously they would go on in December 1903, to have the first flying at... I didn't know this. It was launched at Kill Devil Hills.
Okay.
That's not a good
It's
sign.
not a good place to start, is it?
I mean, it worked. It worked. But I was like, let's pick here. Really? There's nowhere nicer? Fly plane. No. We're not going to go there. No. But yeah, people suggest that this accident changed it.
Yeah.
And later on, the given
intriguing.
was he actually acting out? Was it just a harmless accident, or was he really going for Wilbur? Because he was annoyed. There were great things ahead for Wilbur regardless. He would be fine. He would have cash and support. But what to do with poor Oliver? What will become of him? And will his madness turn to murder? Yes.
Yes, probably. He's on this podcast, so yes.
Yes. Oliver is off his tits on drugs. He is doing well at the pharmacy, though, while self-medicating.
Nice.
He's showing a propensity for serving the customers. He's able to mix the doses very well for the customers. And he attracts attention of a local doctor who says, "You have a future in medicine, boy." Boy, probably him just going like, yeah. Like huge pupils, looking at him, nodding and chattering like, yeah, absolutely, I would do that. But this doctor does think he has a future, he has potential, because he's shown such, aptitude for pharmacy. He takes him under his wing, he becomes an apprentice to this doctor, and it's decided he will go to college, he will go to medical school.
Okay.
And his family scrape together the money to send him there. The family are not rich, they are poor, but they do whatever they can to get him to go to college. And they're like, yeah, this is a wonderful, noble profession for a doctor, and that will mean he's bringing the money in. So, yeah, good investment. He goes to college in 1888 to become Jack the Ripper, obviously. Wasn't the best student. No, he it's not really gone into detail about why he didn't do well. I just think he was struggling. He was struggling because he was addicted to drugs.
Yeah, and now he's not at the pharmacy or the apothecary. He's not going to have ready access to things, one would imagine. So it's like withdrawal.
He gets
things.
access to them every now and then. It's more that he's noted as a drinker at college. He's very reclusive. The people who remember him from his college days say he didn't socialise with people. He was very withdrawn. He was known to be a drunk. Maybe they are saying he was drunk because he was on drugs. I mean, drugs would definitely shape his life. Alcohol does not really feature in his story apart from at college. So maybe that's a misunderstanding, or that's the drug he was choosing at the time.
Yeah, easier to get hold of.
Yeah, absolutely. So he is struggling, and again, the finances are tight. During his studies, he would meet a nice young lady, Anna Margaret Eckley. Eckley, red-headed she was.
Oh God!
Apparently, she was 5'8". There was one report that made a big thing about her height. Like, she wasn't a small woman.
She was a giant.
Giant. And they form a courtship. She invites him to stay with her and her family. He doesn't particularly want to go home for some reason. She's like, no, you will come and stay with my family. Family are not too keen on him at all, really. It's like, yeah, he is a drug addict and he's drinking and he's weird and he seems to have a lot of rage. So I'd rather he didn't date my daughter.
Understandable.
Yeah, Anna's like, but Daddy, I love him. Let me
I
stay
can
in
fix
the
him.
house." Oh, I can. I love a project. Okay, they're fine. And this is a very strained household that they have, as Oliver is trying to get enough money to continue his studies. And Anna's doing whatever, or she's just giving up her studies to go babies. But weird things are happening with Oliver, with his temperament. And it's been influenced by a book that was published in 1886.
Okay.
And he's been very, very keen on since its publication. It is the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
No, Mr. Hyde, okay.
Yes, he's been obsessed with this book since it was printed. He read it and it sort of became his whole persona, figuratively and literally. He is fixated on the message of duality in that book, the idea that two people, two personalities can exist in one man. And he's so fixated on this, and this seems to be the focal point of his studies, as he tells everyone. Meanwhile, Anna's father, William, who was no fan of Oliver, is constantly saying to his daughter, you need to find something better. This is not good enough. This is not good enough. And he then drops dead of apoplexy in 1891.
Okay.
Yeah. Just dies.
Just drops dead.
Perfectly healthy man.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. No signs of ill health before that, but he drops dead.
Nothing at all suspicious about that.
Nothing suspicious whatsoever.
Okay.
Certainly no one thinks so at the time. Luckily, though, he had a big old life insurance policy.
Well, that's always handy.
Yeah, he did. And the life insurance is divvied up between the children, and it goes to Anna. And then, obviously, Oliver proposes to Anna, probably over her father's corpse.
How
tragic.
At the funeral, yes.
Is all this death really makes me want to marry you right now? Please go on. The pair are married, the inheritance is shared, and Oliver can continue his medical studies. He eventually graduates in 1893. It was said he was kicked out of one college, gets a degree somehow, maybe, from another. It's entirely possible that he got no degree, and it was just reported in the papers that he did. So, he becomes Dr. Oliver Cook. Sets up a practice in Dayton, and his practice consists of him experimenting in his laboratory downstairs.
Okay.
Much of the time. The practice is in his house, but he has a lab downstairs, and he's always down there fiddling with tinctures and things. He was alleged to have told friends, and this is a quote that's shared a lot, "I am working on the evolution of a drug which in its perfection will create a new era of science, a new order of thought, and a new race of beings."
Oh, wow. Okay, that last bit is a leap.
Yeah. Friends are like, we just literally said how are things.
Yeah.
You've gone into a lot of detail.
Okay.
I will bring into reality of days something more wonderful than Stevenson, Robert Louis Stevenson, in his wildest dreams ever imagined. I will prove that which he only suggested, that certainly that two beings can exist in the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
There he is.
There's a lot going on there.
he's made it his life's work. It's
Yeah.
fine. The locals are apparently intrigued and delighted by all of this. They're like, oh, what a wonderful chap.
Yes.
Such promise. And, interesting. I like the sound of
theories.
this.
Yes, indeed.
And they're like, oh, you go ahead. Everyone just thinks it's really, really rather charming. They sort of get more annoyed when no one's coughs or colds are treated by him. But things change rapidly that summer. Later in the summer, when his wife Anna runs to the neighbour's house one day, begs for help because she says, my husband is trying to kill me. He has become a monster.
Oh.
Has Oliver become successful in his experiments? The police arrive on the scene. They search the doctor's home and they go down into the laboratory. What horrible experiments will they find down there? They find just shit tons of cocaine and morphine.
Just a lot of drugs.
That's what he's been doing down there the whole time. The whole time he has been doing drugs. And maybe there's some sort of vague argument about, I'm experimenting with drugs to consider the idea of duality under the influence and everything. He's just really high all the time. And trying to kill his wife. Not so great.
No, less good.
Yeah. Well, the news is all over town, of course. No one can now entertain Oliver or any of his silly notions again. The man is a drug addict and he's been horrible to his wife. Whatever business he has dried up. He loses all his money. He ends up having to move back in with his pious parents, and Anna demands a divorce, but then she finds out she is pregnant and decides she must stay for the sake of the children. For the children. They all move into the family home, and it's a tiny enough house, but he has to have a room for his practice so he can keep trying to bring in money for his wife and his parents, and also probably another room for all of his drugs, because he's still doing all of those. And he would work when he could and then beg anyone he knew for money for more drugs. And when he didn't have drugs, he would, in quotes, become belligerent and threaten to kill his family if he couldn't have more drugs.
Okay.
Yeah, which is extreme.
Yeah, not ideal.
Like how you get when you have no chartreuse.
Yes, this is true.
When someone says you can't have fabulous curtains, you fly into a rage. The parents tried to have him declared insane. One of the first times they will try to do this. He doesn't help when the people turn up and go, let's assess him. He looks like a madman. He's off his face. His hair is all over the place. He's kicking and screaming at the authorities. And at one point he breaks free, apparently, and then grabs a syringe and injects himself as if he's trying to do some sort of Jekyll and Hyde thing.
He's going to transform now
He's
into a monster.
He's going to transform. Or like he's trying to Hulk up, like... And they're like, okay, into the car we go. Off you go. He is literally dragged to the Dayton Asylum for the Insane in 1894. Not a nice place. Apparently there were multiple murders at that asylum. Lots of people went, ooh, when he joined there were lots of murders that happened. No, that was just the start.
There were a lot of murders before he joined and after. There was just a lot of murders.
Beating people to death in there. Horrible, horrible place. He survived somehow. He goes through withdrawal, obviously, in there, and people go, oh, it's his alter ego acting out. But on his release, Oliver is no better. It seems he will go on to do a whole lot worse and be a whole lot weirder.
No, God.
And I think that's time for a drink.
There's a lot going on there.
Nick, we have our drinks.
We do.
You have a can of Coke.
I have a can of Coke.
I have made a creamy amaretto-y thingy thing in a glass.
Without scary rum.
I took out the rum. And then I didn't measure anything. I put lots of oat milk in, because I wanted the liquid and the ice. And then a little amaretto, little of the Fernet, and a tiny bit of vanilla vodka.
Nice.
I thought that needed it. And I stirred it, and it's delicious and delightful, and it's not hurting my eyes.
Excellent. You know what you got in there? Some of the Aburulu.
What?
Remember the the elephant drink?
You bought an entire bottle of that?
Yeah.
Yep, chuck some in. Go on. Delightful. Oh, delicious. Symphony of flavours. All right. So, Nick, Oliver has been released from the asylum.
Yes.
It's not done him a lot of good.
No.
He now has to get back to normality.
Good luck.
Carry on practicing medicine. Not going to do well in Dayton because he's burned a few bridges there.
Reputation may be slightly charred.
Just a bit. So now he has to maybe move his practice around, and he sort of does this hopping business across Ohio into other states, moving his practice around in the hope of making money, mainly, well, entirely to fund his drug habit. He doesn't really care about anyone else from that. And addiction is no laughing matter, but this is horrible. So he moves from different towns. He keeps practicing. Not the best doctor, we could say, at a stretch. There are reports that his patients do not get proper care, unsurprisingly. Some even die through neglect or malpractice. We don't know. Whether it's that he's killing them for money intentionally, like not giving people good care because a patient rocks up and goes, I have a cough. Like, oh, really? Oh, yeah. And how much money do you have on you? Quickly drink this paint stripper. Or whether he's just not doing a good enough job and loads of people die and people feel that later on that he was responsible for them. But he's definitely not helping his business for two reasons. His patients would often find him passed out in the hallway.
Nice.
When they came for their appointments. So that's bad. The other bad thing is that others, when they came for their appointment, found him posing naked by the door of his office pretending to be a statue.
Brilliant. Just standing really, really still.
Naked. That's it.
Right.
Yeah. Passed out, one thing. Oh, no, he's a drug. This guy, what the fuck?
Yes.
Yes. Prescribing all sorts of treatments that people didn't need.
Fantastic.
I've strained my neck. You need a mineral bath, which I'm going to administer myself. Here we are. He was once heard saying that for certain ailments, really the best treatment is death.
Okay.
Not so much a treatment.
It's not generally prescribed.
No. We should go to the doctor.
You know what you need? A bullet.
I got a bit of a cough. I'm going to prescribe you 2 deaths before breakfast. Take them twice a day. Fuck off. He did. He said the best thing for certain ailments, not people, ailments was death. By 1900, he's back in the asylum. Back in the asylum for 1 year stint. Didn't help. Still mad. He apparently told the doctor while he was in the asylum again that he had killed, in inverted commas, that he would put, several patients through botched abortions.
Wow. Oh.
So he's that sort of doctor who is basically taking any kind of work that's coming to them. Yeah. And he doesn't really care about his patients, doesn't care about what happens. These aren't even included in the deaths that are laid at his door, but definitely he sort of says, oh, yeah,
very
I've
much
killed
responsible.
people. On his release, continues to still be a doctor in different places. His marriage to Anna remains but by a thread. She's still trying to divorce him, but she keeps getting pregnant. She leaves him. She doesn't finalise divorce. But it doesn't matter that Anna is gone because he's seeing plenty of other ladies. Yeah. Oh, he has several mistresses and apparently would marry several of them. And this is where more stories emerge about him, that he was becoming a bit of a bluebeard, that he was marrying women for their money and then doing away with them in his capacity as a doctor, but less of a dashing, wonderful, rich prince as in the Bluebeard stories, more of a kind of come here, morphine for you and give me your pocket change. So some of the stories are in Wisconsin. He married a woman named Delilah Betters, and while he was there he was also arrested for the death of a patient but acquitted. So he'd set up his practice in Wisconsin, married a lady, killed a patient, was investigated, acquitted, and then had a wife. Delilah and him, still married, moved to Michigan. Then she found out that Oliver was married to another woman. She was going to charge him with bigamy, but he managed to talk her out of it, and then he fucked off to somewhere else and abandoned her. So I think she survived. He would then go on to marry a lady named Jenny Tuahay in Lima, and they were having a lovely time as husband and wife, even though 2 of her closest friends had mysteriously died from death. He'd prescribed them some death because he found out they had a little bit of cash, and then found out their money was missing. Oliver was quite keen on injecting her quite regularly with morphine, but it was all fine. That's just what young love is. That's just newlyweds. It was all fine. She has an inheritance, right? Okay, fine. The pair apparently, this becomes bizarre, him and Jenny would open up a saloon in Ohio, in Lorain, in Ohio. A saloon/brothel.
Okay.
Right. They open up this business that she is apparently running. He is there as the doctor, supplying anyone who comes in with whatever they need. So very much illicit materials. Yes. One customer had died after receiving treatment from the doctor, which leads the authorities to their door. And this is from a great article, one of the great sources on this, from Columbus Underground. They said when the authorities came into the saloon, There they found filth beyond description.
Nice.
A pet monkey that ran freely around the rooms. Less funny, an emaciated and seriously ill Jenny, riddled with diseases and track marks.
No.
Jenny was taken to the hospital where during the moments of lucidity she would beg someone to help her escape from her husband's needles, as was said in the article. Unfortunately, though, her dependency was so strong, so powerful that she would end up dying in the hospital. Now, Oliver was apparently arrested for his part in this poor woman's demise and her treatment, but then strangely immediately let off with the promise that he would leave town and not do anything like this again and seek help.
Don't be naughty again.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened there. Again, it's very, very short resources that he just was allowed to leave. Whether they saw this as, okay, this is a drug den. He is an addict. She was an addict. We're just going to go and get help and we're not going to charge you. It seems weirdly lenient for that time. And given the deaths,
perhaps there are more people involved than they wanted to.
Maybe
perhaps there were some powerful names or something who were associated with something, or who knows.
He doesn't seem someone who had mixed in powerful circles. There could have been all manner of complications that we don't know about, but it ends up he is not charged.
I say it seems overly lenient for.
Yeah. Something has happened. There are rumours of him having at least 9 mistresses. And 4 wives.
Who has the time? And then doing all those drugs as well.
It's not a long time period either.
Yes, I mean, how does he have the hours in the day?
Exactly. But this is it, where many people later on would say we suspect this was him. This is he'd done all these things, but he's bopping around the place trying to make money to fund his habit, essentially. But he is posing as a doctor and he's setting up these businesses, apparently. And people are going missing. As we approach 1905, Oliver is destitute. He ends up crawling back again to his parents' home, begging for help. They take him in. Foolish, but he's the son.
Yeah.
And he does his best to clean up his act. Apparently, at this time, he sort of weans himself off the drugs for a time, seems to, at least. He is helping out at the church. He takes manual labour jobs. He does whatever he can. And it seems like there's a little glimmer of hope. Like, maybe he's getting better here. In the autumn of that year, close to Halloween night, Oliver speaks to his father about that he wants to return to his medical practice, that he wants to get back into honest work. He can set it up. He's ready. I'm clean. I'm a good boy now. But that's all well and good, the family say. His brother says, look, there's no money. There isn't any money. And also, Mum and Dad have written you out of the will because of all of your antics. So you're not going to get any money from them. Maybe leave them alone. And Oliver doesn't like this one bit. Descends into one of his usual tirades, screaming at them for money, and they are terrified. In the following days, Oliver places a very large order for hyoscine hydrobromide, now used to treat travel sickness.
Yes.
But hyoscine back then, take enough of it, it will cause paralysis. Also orders lots and lots of lamp oil for the family. On the 5th of November, in 1905, the neighbours hear Oliver running around the streets screaming fire. And they see that his family's house is ablaze. As people run out to help, the good doctor says that his family got out of the building. His parents and his brother got out, but it is burning. He doesn't know what to do. Everyone calms him down, reassured that there's no one inside, and they stand there helpless and they watch, and people approach to see what can be done, and they see inside the building that the parents and brother did not get out. There are 3 bodies inside, burning, very much dead. Yeah. Oliver is arrested, of course, on suspicion of drugging his family at dinner, either drugging them to induce paralysis or killing them outright, and then dousing them and the entire house with kerosene and setting it ablaze to cover his tracks, and then running out on the streets going, oh my God, a terrible fire, and they all got out, and trying to pretend that it didn't happen.
It's not a happy story.
No. It's quite sad. No. This is also quite sad.
Oh.
Well, just a note, but all three were buried in one casket.
No.
They were together, at least, in the end, but there's so little remains.
Yeah, it's not
they
what's
all
left.
went to one casket, and they were buried. Now, Oliver pleads not guilty.
What a surprise.
No, insisting it's nonsense. It was just an accidental fire. As he awaits his trial, letters start coming to the press and to the authorities. The prosecutors linking him with crimes across Ohio, Illinois, Michigan. 16 deaths are laying at his door. All of these
Bloody
women, all of these people, all of these patients that he has allegedly treated and left for dead in all these other states, everyone is saying that he is responsible. Now it's entirely possible that many, many more letters come in with everyone going, any crime that was ever committed anywhere was his responsibility. But even so, without all of this in mind, the three deaths of his family members are on the table. He is taken to court. His trial begins on the 22nd of February 1906. He pleads insanity.
Yeah.
They don't buy it.
No,
No, they're tested and they find, no, you're completely sane. You awful, awful man. His trial lasts 10 days and the jury very quickly deliver a guilty verdict.
Good.
And he will be sentenced to death by electric chair. Before he died, he was alleged to have said the following. They say that I murdered my father, my mother, and brother with hyacinth for the sake of the money. Then they say that when I had taken enough of the hyacinth, the man within me disappears, and hide is the power. It seems, and though I must do something, destroy something, my only recourse is to get out into the street, out into the open country, away from men and women, lest I murder them. It is possible for me to have murdered these people and know nothing of it. All that I do know is that if I die for these crimes, I shall at least have established the proof of the theory on which I have always insisted, that these two beings, one good, the other of evil, may exist in the same man, and in that respect at least I shall have rendered a distinct service to posterity.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was executed on the 19th of April, 1907. And apparently he manifested an apparent indifference to his fate until the last. One final interesting note. The day he was executed, it was just after midnight.
Okay.
There was a massive power cut in the prison. Total darkness across, but the electric chair still worked.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because it was powered by the prison dynamo. And I do have an image of a child on a bicycle.
Yes, all the rest of prisoners are cycling really, really fast.
Go, men, go. But yeah, in the darkness, an electric chair execution. There we are. That is the crazy story.
That is a crazy story. How have we not come with that story before?
Of Dr. Oliver Cook Haugh.
How?
How? There you are. Dr. Oliver. Now, that was sent in by one of our wonderful listeners who just said, have you looked into this?
Yeah.
It involves the Wright brothers. So, yeah, it's famous because of Wilbur Wright. That's why we know about it. Because he smashed him in the face with his hockey stick and then went on to kill his family.
Yeah.
But many people
and
think
many,
he did
many
more.
other people.
Yeah. People think he did many, many more. Horrible, horrible things.
Yeah.
Yes.
How? Well.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. I'm not quite sure what to say.
There's not a lot to dissect
indeed,
apart
just
from...
what a very unpleasant man.
Yeah.
All this Jekyll and Hyde stuff, just no.
Yes.
It seems a very convenient excuse.
To
be coming up with it so frequently, and just like, oh no, it wasn't me, it was my alter monster.
It does seem interesting. Could be a whole expert witness with Roe kind of thing, or like for other people to weigh in. I'd be really interested to know what people think about this. But the publication of Jekyll and Hyde, Jekyll and Hyde's been used for years, rightly
absolutely.
so, for people to make analogies about what addiction does to you, what addiction does, but also for various people to talk about, okay, the psychopath in you, or like the base desires in you, and letting them unloose is why it's a absolutely fantastic, brilliant novella. But that's someone who at the time was in the height of the hysteria about it. Who was there at the original publication.
There, queuing outside Waterstones.
Yeah, that original fanboy, and completely obsessed with this idea. And if you are in the grips of a drug addiction, And to kind of go, this is opening my mind to new possibilities. And someone's just written a book that is basically about taking drugs, and then another side of you is revealed. Doesn't take a lot of nudging. Then he goes on, obviously, to do horrible things and just to use his excuse for fucking ever.
That's the thing. He just uses that excuse forever. And it's not just that he has that, but he's then using it just as an excuse for murdering people for money and...
Well, is it an excuse for his behaviour?
So,
yeah.
So
it doesn't seem there's a Dr. Jekyll in there.
No.
It doesn't seem like he's doing good outside of it. It is driven...
just being a bastard.
Yeah, he's driven by his addiction, his desire for addiction. This constant trying to set up medical practices. And maybe he was only doing that so he would legitimately still be able to access supplies.
Yes, maybe.
As a doctor, you can go, would you like this cocaine?
Yes, I need to order several barrels of cocaine, please, because I'm a legitimate doctor.
Or he liked standing around naked as a statue.
Who doesn't?
Well, there you go. What do you think, people? What do you think of this crazy story of the Doctor obsessed with Jekyll and Hyde and really, really lent into it with his drug addiction, with his many murders, allegedly, but definitely the murders of his entire family at the end of it. It's one to ponder. I mean, it's grim in parts and very funny in others. What stock do you put in the Jekyll and Hyde theory? Do you have any kind of other examples or feelings on the whole matter? Tell us what you think. Jump on the comments of this episode. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your theories, but also consider...
No, don't. Just don't. Don't do it. Don't do it. Your brain... I feel my brain dissolving.
Mixing up a chatterbox.
Have something lovely.
You've not done well on this.
No.
You were so hopeful. I don't know why you thought it was a good idea after two Negronis.
I don't know, because, well, it's what I made.
I know it's what you made.
What I made. Don't anyone else ever make it. Just don't do it.
It's do not just get rid of the Ray and Nephew. Lovely drink.
Yes, yes.
Lovely drink without the overproof rum that should never be drunk by anyone unless you have some sort of deal with the devil.
So, I mean, yes. So I shall put the recipe out. I might do.
You're going to tonight.
I'm going to, because they will hit me if I don't. But yeah, I wouldn't bother.
Yes.
Make something lovely.
Make something lovely. Share whatever cocktails you're drinking while listening to this episode, or share cocktails with us anytime you feel like it. Share them on Instagram. Share your own pictures and tag us in them so we can share them again. Chat to us on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on the TikTok. We're sort of moving away from Twitter. We're not going to lie to you. Yeah. Or X, whatever you want to call it, because of the horrors that happened there. But you can send us a message on any of the social media platforms you follow us on, and also on email. Send us suggestions of more stories that we can be covering. Please join us on Patreon if you want more from the Poisonous Cabinet every week, and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisoner's Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.